what up to the Retain fam? It's your boy Bushle. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and please drop down a comment below if you haven't. And if ever like you want me, to record more videos on what you guys want me to talk about, please drop down a comment. And like if y'all need a couple of advices from my own experiences on the semen retention journey, and also a couple of mistakes that I've made, that like I'm willing to help other individuals go through these challenges and setbacks and failures that I've went through. So the reason I'm recording this video is actually to talk about the things that I've actually noticed, the mistakes that I've made, and like the times that I knew that there are certain things that I wish I would have done much more earlier. Of course, I know that I'm still 19 and I still have a whole lot of learning, and I'm still having a whole lot of issues that I have to solve out within my own life. But as long as I'm documenting my journey, I'm recording more and more of these videos, and I'm actually waking up and telling myself, what, I'm gonna do better than the way that I've always done for years. So yeah, I did a whole lot of low vibrational, things that I should have done. Put myself in the wrong scenarios with the wrong people. I've actually done things to put myself within the very same social spaces within my own age group, because I wanted to fit in. Others had nice clothes than me. Others had much more higher rosters than me. Others had just were really really good at playing the egotistic game. Majority of my peers are constantly engaging in. But at some point, I never got to be a type of person where I was able to fit in some of these egotistic, like games, these egotistic, you know, things that majority of the youth is engaging in. And at some point, it gave me a struggle. It gave me like a whole lot of internal conflict, because I just knew that I'm a type of person where I enjoy the things that are much more different from my own peers, like even like the level of thinking, the way that I view things, the way that I always wanted, to express myself and put myself in certain spaces was completely different from the norm, from usually like the type of egotistic, you know, expectational behaviors that others expected me to have, but I just couldn't be that type of person. And yeah, there were moments where I just really, really had to put myself in a state of solitude, where like I just had to distance myself away from these people. But the issue back then is that I didn't learn much sooner. That I wish I had, a high profitable income skill that I've, would have learned much more early. At least maybe made small, money. Cause one thing that I noticed, that if ever like you're a broke person, you don't have money, like it's really really hard to walk away from certain situations, that you do not actually like. Cause at some point you might put yourself in solitude. You might put yourself in a state where you distance yourself from so many people, but like your own location becomes constricted if you don't have money. Your own level of putting up, your life to the next peak or to the next height and level becomes really really hard if you're a broke person. Especially the fact, it's really really hard to get a job nowadays. It's really really hard, like to make a living if you don't have money. So my advice to you, if ever you're that type of person where you realize that you're with the wrong people, you're in the wrong scenarios and in the wrong, locations, where you just don't want to like associate yourself with the type of egotistic behaviors, with the egotistic, cultural conditioning of the youth, and you feel like you want to distance yourself from so many of these things, you want to put yourself in solitude, my biggest advice to you is like learn a high profitable income skill while you're in those moments of solitude. Or maybe record a video and start creating content also, and start doing the things that have to do with fulfilling with your own passion, and like use your own passion to make money out of it, because it's definitely going to help you at some point. Because there's nothing more painful than going back to the things and going back to the people that you've told yourself that you'll never go back to, all because like you realize that, hey, I'm actually bored and I'm actually lonely, and like I don't have a whole lot of things to do and a whole lot of places to go to. Of course, I understand going to the gym. I understand going to certain institutions to do things that are actually good and positive, that can have a positive impact within your own life. But if ever you don't fix your financial life much more sooner as like a young man in this modern day world, as a young person, it really becomes hard to become more decisive in your own decisions and choices, especially when you choose to distance yourself from certain people, when you choose to put yourself in a state of solitude. And I really wish I would have learned this much more early, that if ever I had a skill where I knew how to make money, I could have like distanced myself much sooner. I could have went to places that I really wish that I had the strength to go to if ever my financial life was sorted out. Of course, we learn from some of the mistakes. I also learned that never put yourself in that state where like you go back to the older people just because you're bored, just because you're in a state of loneliness. Bro, like whenever like you're willing to distance yourself from so many individuals and so many spaces, learn how to make money. Like that's like the best advice I'd ever give you. Learn to make money as much as possibly can from an early young age. Even if like you don't have a job, even if you haven't gotten a job, at least like find a passion, that's gonna like help you make money in the long run. Find a skill that's gonna like bring in like money into your pocket, because if ever you're not gonna do that, you're definitely gonna like put yourself in scenarios that you really wish you don't want to be in, because of you just become so constricted in your own movement. You become so constricted within your very own plans and like ideal things that you want to do in your life, because majority of the things that are done nowadays, they need money at the end of the day. And like I really wish I would have knew like this much sooner. And yeah, Chad, I'm telling you, there's a whole lot of situations that you could run away from if you had money. And yeah, there's a whole lot of things that I've also noticed, that whenever you're gonna like wanting to level up your game, if ever you're gonna be at the point where you just wanna take your life to the next peak, making money is literally the first step you should consider. Even if you can go to the gym, even if you can learn a new skill, that doesn't also have to do exactly with making money. Maybe you want to start being an artist, maybe you want to start sketching, you want to start painting, you want to start writing down poems, or like you just want to do music, or you're just considering a new sport. Like trust me, at some point, even if you're going to be doing all of those things, learn to make money as soon as much as you possibly can, because trust me, in this state of economy that we're living in South Africa, trust me, being broke is the last thing you should ever like accept right now. Of course, I know now not everyone wants to be broke, but let me tell you something. The system programmed us to be corporate slaves. The system programmed us to be actually those type of people where we don't actually learn to make things for our own self, where we do not become like the co-creators of our own financial life, where we become our own creators of our own financial situations, where we just tell ourselves, I still have to get a job, I still have to like find someone who's gonna pay me for me to actually make a living. Even if at some point you won't really like be able to make money just by starting from scratch. Even if maybe you do want to get a job, okay, if ever you want to get a job, there's nothing wrong, because even I myself, I attracted and manifested a small minimal income job. But I'm definitely gonna make sure that each and every single income that I'm gonna get for the next couple of months, I'm gonna use it to maximize on so many things that I've told myself I could have done in the previous year. Because at some point, I'm not gonna be a corporate slave for the rest of my life. At some point, I gotta make my first millions. At some point, I gotta like make things possible. Even if right now I'm just like a young, 19-year-old who's just recording this type of semen retention videos at home and talking about his own life and experiences. Even if I haven't reached like the peak version of myself, I want this type of videos that I'm recording right now at this early age. I want these videos to be a testimony of my own journey whenever I'm gonna reach that height. And especially if ever like you clicked on this video, you're watching this video at this at this present time, and you've watched it for this long, I really appreciate it. and I really wish you could also be part of this journey. Can you please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and be part of this journey, as I'm gonna be continuing to record more and more videos. I'm gonna continue to do as much as I possibly can to take everything to the next peak, and see ya in the next videos.